while the Cardinals' Russ Smith hopes to score his 1,300th career point. Hawks and Cardinals taking flight next. The Cards will look to run their winning streak to a record 20 consecutive games tonight as they host the 2-2 Hartford Hawks. Everybody, I'm Drew Diener alongside Bob Valvano. Well, Bob, Rick says one of the things he likes about this team is the fact that it doesn't matter the opponent, doesn't matter their conference. They respect their opponent enough to follow the game plan and come out focused. I know as a former coach, you got to like that about this team.
I did notice that. I mean, the game against Cornell, they came out like it was a Final Four game, and I'm not saying that kiddingly. I mean, they were dialed in. And tonight will be a different challenge because we know this Hartford Hawks team is not going to come out and try and run up and down with Louisville. They are going to want to control tempo, limit the number of possessions, play a very different approach than the last couple of games.
Let's look at our Bluegrass Audi keys to the game. And the most important thing for this team, as you mentioned, find the rhythm. The other, Cornell, was down 39 points before they found their rhythm.
Yeah, they were running the stuff they wanted to, just not at the speed they wanted. That's going to be a key for this team who likes to play a mid to slower tempo. And then you got to make some shots early. That helps you relax. For Louisville, Rick even told me after the last game, he's got a lot of guys. They're all playing well. Now's the time to start defining roles as they get ready to go to Connecticut. And then if they're going to be a good rebound team, it's got to come from everywhere. Backcourt, frontcourt, wings, crashing the boards.
This is just the second ever meeting between these two schools. The Cards set a record for three-pointers made the first time they met. And if they win tonight, you win. Get 45% off regular menu price on online orders when you go to papajohns.com and enter promo code CARDS45. The starting lineup's right around the corner. About set for tip-off here between the Cards and the Hawks. Here are your Kentucky Lottery starting lineups. First for the visiting Hartford Hawks, you've got Corbin Rowe in that backcourt, the man from Australia, Taylor Dyson and Yolonzo Moore make up that three-guard backcourt. Then Mark Wakama, their big scorer, and Orrin Falk as well, the two forwards. For the Cards, it's Russ Smith and Chris Jones, along with Wayne Blackshear. He's hit 7 of his last 8 three-pointers, Montrezl Harrell, and Stephen Van Treese. The opening tip in just a moment from the UMSA. The nation's number 3 or number 2 ranked team, depending on what poll you look at, the University of Louisville Cardinals taking on Hartford, a team that is playing its 5th game in 11 days here at the KFC Yum Center. And for the Cards, it's off to the Mohegan Sun for a pair of games this weekend. They await a potential matchup with North Carolina on Sunday. Chris Jones doesn't wait long to get in the scoring column.
A little set play right off the opening tip. You can see Chris Jones sealing his man, and Trez just went up and took a whack at it like a volleyball player.
This Hartford Hawks squad does not have a lot of players from anywhere near Hartford on its roster. The closest player to Hartford's hometown is 1,000 miles away. Coach John Gallagher goes far and wide to get players to come up there, and has had some success in the last couple of years as well doing that.
Yeah, 4 foreign-born players, 3 Australians and a German.
Wakama shot off the rim, and a lot of guys from Texas, too. Russ Smith to the basket.
That is not going to make Coach Gallagher very happy. He wants to control the pace of this game, and when you let a guy dribble it from 50 feet away and lay it in like that, that is not going to make the pace you want.
You mentioned your keys right off the top to find a rhythm, and I know that's something you talked with him this afternoon about.
Yeah, he was like, look, we know what the challenge is for us. We don't really want to come in here. Our goal is to be competitive and give ourselves a chance. They're not going to just swing from the hills and take what they get, kind of like what Hofstra did and Cornell did. They both just went and played, and they paid the price. This team wants to control it, but so far, not so successfully.
Chris Jones with a rip there to steal that one away.
They are really businesslike. I'll tell you what, this is a professional bunch.
Smith, 3rd one in a row. I mean, you're right, Bob. I mean, they just take everybody seriously.
You got to coach for a little while to realize how extraordinary this is. They are dialed in. I mean, they are not. There's one of 2 ways you go when you win the national championship. You either come in and kind of have a little tiny bit of a sense of entitlement, or you say, now we've got to really play every night like champions. And these guys have embraced that latter scenario, that's for sure.
Russ Smith there with 4 points, now has 1,300 in his career at the University of Louisville. As that shot is up and rejected, Orrin Falk tried to get it up there, and here come the Cards the other way. Russ Smith looking for point 7, in and out. Louisville has hit 3 of its first 4 shots, scores 3 of them layups. 0 for 2 so far for Hartford. And on the block, Montrezl Harrell and Mark Wakama getting tangled up, and we have our first whistle.
Yeah, he is their go-to guy. He's the only guy averaging double figures, and he's way past simple double figures, averaging almost 19 a game, a 54% shooter.
See John Gallagher there in his 4th season. They won 17 games a season ago. That tied the regular season record there at Hartford. He was a member of the 1999 St. Joe's, or 1996 St. Joe's team that went to the Sweet 16, and as a player, and he's got to talk to his players here after a quick timeout here in the early going.
Yeah, very personable guy. We had a chance to talk to him this afternoon. Got them to the postseason last year, building a program and going in the right direction. There's a milestone layup for Rustifer.
You know, it's amazing. You look at some of the guys that Russ Smith now is ahead of on the all-time scoring list here. Jeff Halls, Jerry Eves, Rodney McRae. I mean, that's pretty good company that he's in there. I mean, he's on pace to be a top 10, top 8 all-time scorer here.
1,300 points, a lot of points. That was coming into the game, 1296. He's got even 1,300 right now.
He said he's, really worked on it, getting a consistent release in his shot in the offseason. Now, those are easy layups there, but he certainly has shot the ball a lot better this year.
Well, he shot the ball reflective of all that work. It's been much more consistent release point. No doubt about it. Well, they're still going to have a hard time getting it in.
Evan Cooper just checked in there, number 22 now, and they swing it around to Alonzo Moore. His 3 won't go. At least a decent look, though.
Yeah, that was. But they can't get a couple of shots to go early, which is what we talked about. Oh, my.
Oh, how did Russ Smith get that ball up to the basket?
When he spun, I think he was thinking he was going to dish it, and then by the time he got turned around, that passing lane was closed off, so he had no choice but to put a little English on it, reminiscent of one of my childhood heroes, Earl Monroe. There's a guy from the day who could work some English on the backboard.
I mean, it was almost like a 720 with the basketball. He spun, the ball spun at least once, like a 7, spun twice.
Wow, Drew's got, kids are doing homework. Let them work on how many revolutions.
That good revolution for Alonzo Moore on the made 3-pointer there. His 6th made one of the season. the 6'2 junior out of Austin, Texas. We have a host of players on this Hartford squad from Texas. Smith will skip a dangerous pass all the way to Wayne Blackshear, and Colo knocked it out of bounds, and they'll reset it up here.
Looked like a concert. The ball got deflected, then the guy in the front row hit it, then up to like the third row. It should have been a beach ball.
Trying to get it to as hot a shooter as the Cards have there. The man inbounding the ball, Wayne Blackshear, hit 7 of his last 8 threes. Oh, drew it right up. It looked good. Van Treese trying to pad his rebounding stats. And he did.
It's a great second and third effort. Getting more comfortable in that role that Rick is demanding that he play for them.
And Treese had 10 points his last time out, his first double-digit scoring game since 2011.
Trouble. He's out of control. Ooh.
They will get it in the corner, and that 3 is in there from Evan Cooper. He had 18 against Fairleigh Dickinson his last time out, and Rick Pitino upset at the defense on that play. Looks like he's yelling at Blackshear. Was it just looked like they knew the play was coming, and he's upset at the result?
Well, I think I hear him say move. I think he's just, you know, if you're going to play and be as aggressive as they have been, well, then once that team finally does break, and he was a little out of control at the top off the dribble. Looked like it might be a turnover. And then once they got past that, that rotation has got to be flying around. You don't have the liberty of taking your time on the slide, and I think that's what Rick was upset about. They moved much too slowly for his liking.
So he let him know about it here. In the early, we already had 2 timeouts called. We haven't had the media timeout yet. See, Van Treese, you know, if he had enough attempts, he would be the Cards' all-time field goal percentage leader for a career. He's only got about 120 or so for his career, but making 68% of his field goal attempts. Chris Jones into the paint amongst everybody, and it'll be out of bounds off Van Treese. And it'll be Hartford ball when we return. Stephen Van Treese, 6'9", 245 senior out of Indy, working hard down low and getting the result. And they lead it over the Hawks 10-6. There are a lot of young Cardinal fans in the arena today. We like to call them our Cosair Charities Cardinal Kids. Since the 1980s, Cosair Charities has given away over $100 million to help pay for the medical care of children from hometowns around the Kentuckiana area. Our Cosair Charity's Cardinal kids here this evening. Seeing this Louisville team that is going for its 20th consecutive victory. And it's a team in Louisville that has taken great care of the basketball. They've only got, in just the 2 games they have, or 3 games they have played, are second best nationally in turnovers at just 6 turnovers a game. They've taken remarkably good care of the ball, albeit a small sample size, obviously.
18 turnovers made, 62 created. I mean, I'd like to have 44 extra possessions. Here you go. Have the ball 44 times in a row.
It does allow you, if you know.
That's really what it does mathematically. You're talking about 44 extra shots at it. Good defensive possession here for the Cards. Really good possession.
Wakama going nowhere, and he's called for a double dribble. And, you know, and that's probably a good illustration of, you know, the new rules. Everybody worries about the hand check, and they don't make you stop being allowed to play defense right there. Those guys held their ground and reached in.
And, you know, that's a good test for Louisville, because this is the first team that really took them deep into the shot clock. They had to defend for the whole 35 seconds. The other teams they played so far haven't done anything like that. Here's a zone again. Louisville have done well against it early, looking high post, and then opposite.
Russ Smith's 3 won't go. Harrell, forget it. Oh, somebody, he had to foul him to not get the radar lock slam dunk for Montrezl Harrell.
They haven't looked really efficient against the zone early yet, though. The 2 possessions, they threw that cross-court pass, got knocked out of bounds. That time they spent the whole possession on the right side. It was a good look at it, Russ. And Harrell on the weak side, nobody checks him.
And Moore picks up the foul. His first. And just the first team foul. So Montrezl Harrell at the line. He's made 7 of 13 free throws this year.
Free throw of the night for either team.
Yeah. Luke Hancock will check in for Wayne Blackshear. Harrell last time out had a career high 15 rebounds in that game against Cornell. And the rim out. Something the Cards have not done well. 58% as a team from the line coming in.
There's a lot of teams going through that, though. Well, that was a travel. Goodness.
Now the 3-pointer off the mark from Colo.
I mean, Carolina lost the other night to Belmont and made less than 50% of their free throws. They took a lot of it. It wasn't like a 3 for 7. I think they had 46 free throws. They only made 22.
Rozier connects on the 3-pointer. Terry Rozier, number 3 on the season for him. As you mentioned, this Hartford team will be deliberate with the basketball. Rick Pitino said they're not a Princeton-style offense. Said that term is overused. It's more of a Georgetown-style offense.
I mean, anybody who doesn't shoot it quickly, if people immediately want to make it Princeton, this is much more, the dribble drive stuff that Georgetown's doing. It's more of a tempo thing.
Colo shot no good, and the ball way up in the air, and Harrell had it and gets it over to Russ Smith before he is fouled by Moore. That'll be number 2 on him.
Harrell trying very aggressively to go through traffic, get that rebound, and get ready to see Mango Mathian coming in the game. By the way, how about our crack statistician, Ken Hong Kong Horn, pointed out something I don't think I've ever seen before. Montrezl Harrell got a credited with an assist on the opening tip.
He won it cleanly, so it becomes a pass if you win it that cleanly, huh?
We keep, well, suddenly we're becoming, you're a hockey guy now. If you win the draw clean and a face-off, it'll be an assist and the guy scores, so why not?
Yeah, I mean, if he hadn't won it so cleanly, he wouldn't have scored. It seems to be the definition of an assist. Yeah.
Exactly right. Man-to-man here.
And there's Mathiang to the basket, and he will go to the free throw line. Haven't seen a lot out of him doing that, putting it on the floor that well.
Well, good read that time. They enter the ball high post, and he takes a look at, like a quarterback, going through his progressions, and they overplayed all of his passes, which means he's got an isolation there, and if he can get it to the deck, he's going to be able to have a one-on-one, put it to his right hand, his strong hand, and went hard and drew the foul.
Mango Mathiang, 6'10", redshirt freshman, 210 pounds, out of Melbourne, Australia, via the IMG Academy.
Should have played the Australian national anthem before the game today. We got enough Aussies out there.
And they get 3 on this squad from Hartford. I mean, Louisville will have, we'll talk about it at halftime, a signee today from Norway. Mathiang's been on 2 or 3 continents in his life, as has Akoya Gao. I mean, if you played on one continent, Rick really does have any interest in it. You're not cultured enough.
that recruiting coordinator is Rand McNally, I think.
As Moore was cut off underneath, and it's Hancock. 3-on-2 break ahead of the pack is Shane Bohannon.
Just keeps the game simple, Luke. Takes a look up the floor, says I have a little two-hand pass, I'll put it in that guy's hands, and he's going to score. That's, why make it more complicated than that?
7-0 run here for the Cards. Sort of nice to come off the bench with the Final Four MVP. I mean, it can't be said enough.
And Shane Bohannon, who was the MOP in the regional. You got two guys.
Yeah, well, and he was first team.
MOPs don't even start and don't care. I mean, Luke doesn't look like he cares at all. I don't mean it doesn't care like he's indifferent. I just mean,
doesn't bother
good
him.
For the team, right? Doesn't faze him.
Yeah, I mean, even last year, he and Bohannon were both first team all Final Four. I mean, they don't start on this team right now. But I think it's a good point you make. It's not like you get the sense that either have any concern about that at all.
Yeah, I think they know minutes are going to be minutes, and as Rick likes to say, 2 ends the game.
Another steal for Chris Jones. And Hancock trying to get it around, and that'll be out of bounds off the Hawks.
It's actually going to be on the baseline. He touched it while standing on the baseline, so it wasn't that he knocked it over the sideline, which is an advantage. Easier to get a scoring play off a baseline out of bounds.
Hancock having some trouble. He does get it into Jones.
Well defended, though, that time.
And Jones open in the corner. They'll get it to him for 3. And you betcha. Chris Jones, 3rd 3 of the year for him.
Good simple ball movement.
6 Cardinal players have already scored in this game. It's just the 20 points on the board. It'll be, figures to be a balanced attack all season long, with the exception of Russ Smith, will probably be a consistent guy in that scoring column.
And he's the high man today with 6.
That shot is up and in from Jamie Schneck, 6'8", 240-pound junior out of Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin. Again, the closest player on this Hartford roster to Hartford is Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin, and he picks up the foul there.
He was thinking of commuting.
And they go to his house for Thanksgiving because he's the closest guy. Cards up by 12 and shooting the ball well from the outside. They've already got 8 points off Hartford turnovers and lead it here 20-8. A Thursday at 11, Doug Proffitt with the WHS 11 news film that hasn't been seen in 50 years. JFK in Louisville, 1 year before he was killed. Thursday at 11, only on WHAS 11. This Louisville team mentioned a few moments ago, second best in the country in terms of fewest turnovers. Yet to have a turnover here this evening. I know it's an announcer jinx, so they'll throw away the inbounds pass here. But, you know, Rick Pitino said he doesn't have a crystal ball to see if they'll be a good team all season at that, but it looks like it in the very early returns here.
Well, they have good instincts. They space the floor pretty well. They're strong physically with the ball. Look at Luke stepping through trouble there and gets us. Now some other guys might have been in trouble there. Instead, he turned it into an advantageous position by stepping through the double team and getting Kevin Ware a layup.
Yeah, Kevin Ware, the 6'2" junior, in the layup. He scored last time out as well. He is. He looks healthy. I mean, as Luke Hancock tries to fight through it. You said it before. If you walked in the gym, you wouldn't know that this guy had this awful injury on Easter. It's amazing.
No, really. I mean, if you just watch this game, said one guy out there had a very devastating injury just as recently as then. Now pick him out from watching, you'd have just a 1 in 10 random shot. You have no idea.
Rick wasn't playing him after that exhibition. Said he was limping, but he went 3 straight days without a limp. So he said, "You're ready to go." Marco Common, the leading scorer, unable to get going here. Instead, they'll kick out the 3-pointer. Good from Wes Cole.
Well, they have 4 field goals. 3 of them are threes. So they are being patient, deep in the shot clock. Knocking a perimeter shot down, but they still dug themselves a little bit of a hole here early.
They've hit 3 of their 5 3-pointers in this game. The Cards have hit 2 of 5. Hancock floater in the paint. This is just an old school guy.
He looks like he's playing with the kids at the park. Let me show you how he, where you can just, they're going to bite on fakes and you can just get where you want to get. It's going to be a great old park player someday.
It looks like I don't know if he sees the game in slow motion or looks like he's in slow motion, but they still can't, keep up with it.
He's a very smart player. He's got good instincts and he knows what he can do and what he doesn't do well. And much like Chris Jones, we say that Chris doesn't take the ball into places where he's going to get in trouble because he's only 5'10". Luke does the same thing. He doesn't take it into places where he's just going to be matched up badly. Trouble here.
Yeah, Cole shut off, and now they've got the Wakama 3-pointer as the shot clock expires. No good. Cole, hey, he gets 79% of his points from out there beyond the arc, but he didn't get that one. And that'll be a foul. That'll be the 3rd on Yolonzo Moore as Chris Jones ended up with the rebound.
Bullet there. It was good defensive possession. Now you see how deep they are taking it into the shot clock. And they got an offensive rebound, wound up with a wide open 3, but airballed it.
Justin Graham, you see there checking in, 6'1" freshman out of San Antonio, Texas. 7 points his last time out.
This is a good indication, though, of what Rick was talking to you about. That doesn't matter what style somebody comes in and plays. They're going to try and, dial into the things that are important to them. This team is dialed in again tonight, really.
Chris Jones sticking with it. The dish underneath to Bohannon. And, you're right. It's very easy to take a team named Hartford Lightning. But it's not a name brand. It's a game that you expect you to win. But much like Cornell, they just come out and act like they're, playing Michigan State or something.
Well, it's a sign of professionalism. I know, that seems to be an odd word to talk about a college team, but they are. They're bringing. They're bringing the top flight effort night in and night out. Doesn't matter who you're playing, where. That's a good sign early in the year. It really is. I'll be honest. They have been as dialed in as any team I think I've seen in all the years we've been doing the games here.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, every now and then you see lose focus for a half at least. Yeah. Shane Bohannon was 1 of 7 on the year from the free throw line. Just 1 of 2 there. Rick said he doesn't do the same thing twice ever at the free throw line.
They did a study in the NBA where they took the best free throw shooters and the worst free throw shooters. And they put maybe a turnover here. I'll let you describe it. There's something going to happen here.
It's like part of this 15-5 run here for the Cards over the last 3.5 minutes. The line to Mathiang. That would have been impressive.
He's the best miss so far tonight.
Yeah, it wins that category.
But they did a study of the best free throw shooters in the NBA and the worst. It's Kevin Ware, I think his name is off the foul. And they took like a whole bunch of video from the minute they got to the line and the referee gave them the ball, they started a stopwatch on them. And the best free throw shooters released the shot within like 1/10 of a second all the time from when they got the ball. If you took, 20 free throws and put them on a video loop, it was maybe 1/10 of a second. The worst free throw shooters, sometimes it'd be as much as almost 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds. And that's what he's talking about. Everything should be the same. Your rhythm, your timing, your cadence. That's what just shooting for a bunch of free throws doesn't help you unless you're practicing them the right way.
Well, you fall back into a rhythm, so that rhythm's the same whether it's a tie ball game with 2 seconds to go or it's this time of game in this type of game.
Well, that's what Rick says about Shane. He doesn't like the way he practices his free throws. He takes a lot of them, and he's not dialed into that routine. Another turnover.
Number 7 in terms of turnovers in this game. Ware into the paint. Wild shot over the backboard. And that'll be Hartford basketball. Not sure what the plan was there for Ware, but it certainly didn't go according to it. For Hartford, this is the first ranked opponent they have played since 2009 and their first ever matchup with a defending national champ. Wakama, their leading scorer there and one with the basketball, comes in averaging 19 points a game. They have got him shut out thus far.
Yeah, he's an undersized low post player. He's having trouble getting the basketball. Louisville's taking him completely out of the game.
Hancock the rebound. Cards have a 10-8 advantage on the board so far.
I mean, he's got good enough size for a low to mid major, but when you get against the front court here, he's just a little bit, a couple inches too small, really.
Chris Jones goes in but can't get it to drop, and fight for the rebound underneath there. And who was under there? Chris Jones at the bottom of that pile. And he and Taylor Dyson getting tangled up. Louisville leading this one though by 14. This one all Louisville here in the early going as they lead it over Hartford 25-11.
All right, take a look at this. Watch Louisville switch twice here. Van Treese and Hancock are going to switch twice. Roll it here, watch. The screen is set to loose left. There's the first switch. Now stop it right there. You can see Van Treese can't get beat off of that initial screen. He doesn't. He corrals the dribble and forces him back to the middle. Now watch Luke will switch back, and Van Treese goes back to his original assignment, gets in the passing lane, and turns it into a steal. One little play, two guys. That's why Rick is always harping on communication. just those two guys had two situations where they had to communicate and be in sync. Well, that would have been a layup. Instead, it turns into a turnover.
And that's two guys that are, what, fifth-year seniors, 10 years of experience between them there. I mean, you can understand why it's so tough for freshmen to come in. And Rick says, well, the freshmen aren't ready to play defensively. You don't come in knowing that right there.
It's well executed there. And, again, that's just two guys. There's a lot of plays where you need all five guys who are in communication. Louisville's been the only team to go to the line so far. 8 free throws. That's the first guy to make a pair. Chris Jones knocks in 2.
Yeah, he's 5 of 8. Or they're 5 of 8. He's now on the season. Is Chris Jones 9 of 14. Then we got a whistle there out top on Jones. The advantage here, 16 for this Card squad.
Rebounding is just almost even, though, 10-9. So still kind of not the one area they just really haven't dominated yet.
Underneath, Wakama has to go against 4 Cardinals to get his first 2 points of the game, but he does do it and will go to the free throw line.
Yeah, that's, if you're going to come over the top like Steven did there, you've got to make sure you at least get a hand on it. Once he missed it, let Wakama get all the way to the goal and a chance at a 3-point play.
Where he is a 76% free throw shooter.
He's a fine player. 54% from the field, 40% from the 3-point line. Averages 7.5 rebounds, almost 19 points a game. He is, Louisville has obviously tailored their defensive game plan around him.
He's a first-team all-conference selection for the American East Conference. This is the first time Louisville's played a team from the American East. It's their first points, by the way, in 3.5 minutes. Check some of the famous alumni from Hartford, by the way.
I did not see that.
Dionne Warwick from there.
Hartford is after all, showbiz capital.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Russ Smith with the 3 from the corner. Russ Smith's doing his own showtime here this season. He's got 9 points.
4 field goals. First 3 of the day for him.
He's now 9 of 21 from 3-point range. He talked a lot yesterday about how hard he's worked on getting that consistent release with the jump shot, and it is just so evident here this season. He's a reliable knockdown shooter. Comes to the games 3 hours early to get some shots up. Practices late at night, too. Hancock guarding Evan Cooper here out top. Uses that behind the back dribble, and he'll get the bucket. 6-foot sophomore out of Houston has it to a 14-point game. Hancock has time to set and shoot. And it's Harrell underneath. Has that one rejected. And we're going to have a jump ball. That'll be possession arrow here to Hartford. As open as Luke Hancock can ever expect to be from out there beyond 3-point range. And that is the Cards' first turnover of the game. As you mentioned, have dominated that statistic this year. It's 62-18 differential coming in, 8-1 the differential here tonight. So the Hawks here, Corbin Rowe, one of the Aussies on this squad, turns it over as Hancock sticks his hand in there. Russ Smith, his second spinning move, but not his second spinning bucket.
No reason to shoot that left-handed. He's on the right side of the basket. He's right-hand dominant. There's no reason to shoot it lefty. Great move and a bad decision on the finish.
And then Cooper, a wild shot at the other end. And Rozier coast to coast. A little coast to coast, out of control action for both of these squads right now. Hawks squad 2-2 on the season, slamming a bunch of games in here at the start of the season for them. And Wakama will take Van Treese, or try to take Van Treese to the basket, but SBT with the block, and now here comes Louisville the other way. A lob underneath. Forget it. Cards doubling up the Hawks right now. Now this one.
Tim Luke's trying to not. That's a good defensive job there. Not letting him out of the corner. Using the sideline and the baseline as an extra set of defenders. Just would not let him come back to the middle.
This team does is shoot threes. The Taylor Dyson's three missed. They've attempted 9 of their 17 shots have been beyond the arc. Harrell to the basket. Will have to earn it at the free throw line when we return. He's already made 1 trip there. He's got 5 rebounds on the night, and he'll try to add to his scoring total here in a moment. Far here from the Yum Center, 4th Street Live here on this Tuesday night. Looking a little calm inside here, the KFC Yum Center, though. It's doubling up the score right now. Hey, this telecast, University of Louisville basketball, may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast, or otherwise used without the express written consent of WHAS Television and the University of Louisville Athletic Association.
I'm told by a little birdie that it is our producer, Miss Deborah's birthday. Is that right?
Oh, you do vast preparation for these games.
I do. No stone is left unturned. So happy birthday to Deborah. She sounds a little bit more like herself, and not so much like Kent Carnes. It was kind of fun last game.
As Montrezl Harrell knocks down, it's very inside baseball there. Don't even try to understand that one, folks.
You were with us last game. Well, you couldn't hear it, but you knew what I was talking about. I think the point, if one is familiar with the work of Ms. Carnes, I think it's pretty simple to extrapolate what went on.
Harrell will miss there, but again, another, hard to find fault with a lot. If you could find fault with something here for Louisville in this first half, what would it be?
Their effort's good. This team is deliberately, artificially slowing the game down a little bit, unlike the other day. There's a nice move.
Nakama, the leading scorer from Leander, Texas, will connect. Russ Smith, he's not going to slow it down.
Goodness, he is.
You just wonder where the angle comes from to get it up to the glass.
Channeling Earl Monroe. I'm serious. That is an Earl Monroe special. He would spin the ball literally every corner of the backboard. And it was largely the same reasons as Russ. Guys who are smaller players tend to learn to do that because they can't carry it over guys, so they got to kind of snake it up between them and get a little tricky with it. A little spin, a little English.
You know, both of these guys, him and Chris Jones, what you sort of call undersized guards, is that three from Colo is missed, but know how to play with it, that's for sure. Cole will try a three, won't drop. Gets his own rebound, though, and that will end up being a free throw trip for Colo.
Again, the bugaboo for Louisville, I mean, I can't ever see them being a dominant rebounding team this year, but they can be effective enough, and that's when everybody's got to go to the boards. And Rick talks about it all the time, and that's getting long rebounds. That's where they keep getting hurt. They play good defense, force a three, and then guys just stand, the ball flies back over their head.
Colo's free throw is in. Coming up on the El Genie halftime report, we'll talk with Robbie Valentine, former Card, now with the KFC Yum Center, about talk about an A-list lineup of concerts that are coming in here over the next 12 months.
When the ball went in the crowd before and I said it's like a concert, I was almost going to go into that because while we were in the dressing room back there, the list of people coming up here, Justin Timberlake, Beyonce,
Keith Urban, George Strait.
Yeah, there's another one, too. I said there were like five, one after the other.
Well, don't spoil our halftime, Rob. We'll talk to Robbie.
I think he can say it again.
No, but you're right. It's amazing. It really is amazing.
Like the whole month of December is just basketball and concerts.
Justin Timberlake. Time. Justin Timberlake. That's who you're trying to think of. I know you're a big fan.
Yeah, I did say Justin Timberlake.
Oh, you did? Okay. Rozier will go to the free throw line. And that first foul is on Corbin Rowe. Get a look at the freshman here from Youngstown, Ohio, via Hargrave Academy. He's played in double-digit minutes in all 3 games thus far, even though he's just averaging 3 points per game. And hits the free throw. Rick said he really wants him and the other freshmen. A lot of times they're worried about, they judge a game after how they did and how they played, and wants him to be able to be happy and with the team's performance. I assume that's always a challenge for every coach, but he mentioned Rozier and Anton Gill specifically yesterday. And connects on the second. This allowed him to set up the pressure. Again, this deliberate Hawks offense will work it around, and Wakama has it taken away by Harrell. 10th turnover of the game for the Hawks. Blackshear, can he stay hot? Yep. Wayne Blackshear with 7 of his last 8 coming in, and 1 of 2 so far tonight. And then Rozier does a good job to draw the offensive foul on the Hawks. A 7-1 run here over the last minute 24 for Louisville. And contact there, and they will give that one on Russ Smith as Corbin Rowe gets credit for being in the right position. Second foul on Russ Smith.
I mean, it's just, you look up and it's hard to, I don't know if it's hard to believe because they are dominating the game, but they're ahead by 21 in a game where they've only given up 19 points, and it just doesn't quite have that feel. They just methodically keep wearing you out.
Possession by possession. I mean, they just grind on you. They don't ever take a possession off.
Well, nobody takes a possession. The guys come off the bench and just keep it going.
Rozier, case in point. He's now got 7 points in this game.
This is where it just wears on you. Another timeout. You don't realize the mental strain. You feel bad enough, guy scores, you just want to take the ball in bounds and go down. You can't even get it in bounds. It's like, could you just get, it's like a little brother, just get off me.
I want to ask you something. Wyking Jones said to me before this game, I was talking about the difference between this year and last year's squad. He said last year's squad was so cerebral. They had thinkers. They had Peyton Siva and Gorgie Zhang, and they beat you a lot of time with their smarts. This team's got a little more meanness to it, we thought, with Chris Jones, with Montrezl Harrell. And I don't know if that manifests itself in any of the stuff we're talking about, but I'm just curious your take on that. Does it seem like a meaner team?
Meaner? I don't know. That's a hard.
A little bit more of a mean streak, not not.
Well, I will interpret it this way: in that they look like when they get up. I think that's the reason we haven't seen the slippage. They just keep their foot on the gas. They just keep playing. That's a little bit, if you want to talk about it that way, because I thought the kid team last year was a pretty tough-minded team. They were They were determined. But
they beat you in so many ways.
But I think talking about here, it's, you've been around guys like that. You're just playing with them in the schoolyard. They're beating you like 12-0, and they're guarding you like they're still trying to make a team somewhere. That's what this team does. It's 42-19. Look how they're guarding people.
It's just a killer instinct, maybe, is a better phrase for it.
I think that may be. Look at this defense. I mean,
there's nothing easy.
Guy. Look at Rozier's man. He can steal that. Every guy who just wants to get in your shirt and suffocate you. Look at this. That's going to be a turnover.
It is turnover number 12 on the game for Hartford.
Everything is so difficult. This is a team picked 4th in their conference. They think they have a chance to finish higher than that. They did get to the postseason last year. CBI tournament, which was quite an achievement for a rebuilding program.
Next year again, this one won't go, but a good look. Nice pass out of the high post to him.
Yeah, now they're back a little more relaxed there.
Jump stop. No, giving credit for it there.
Not illegal to be awkward. We've already established that.
Yep. Hartford team, again, likes to shoot it from outside. They've taken 11 to 20 shots from long range. They came in as that is up and missed by Wakama, and that may be they're going to give a goal tip on that.
No, I don't think he touched it.
Okay. Colo will go to the line as Shane Bohannon picks up his first foul. But they have made 20 3-pointers coming in. That's 21st in the country in terms of 3-pointers made. They're excited in Hartford about this guy, Yassine Colo. He came off the bench for 20 points against Fairfield. But he is, you mentioned, in a league that doesn't have a dominant post play. 6'6" is a big man a lot of times in the mid-majors. He's 6'10", 245. And they really feel like he could be a presence for them.
Got some mobility. If you watch him, moves well. He's made his 2 free throws tonight. You love big guys who can go to the line and hit free throws.
And he connects on that. They've hit 4 of their 5 free throw attempts here in this game. And Terry Rozier, who's got second leading scorer for the Cards in this one, will bring it up. And they will hold for the last shot here.
It's be good for the young player because Rick gets frustrated when they go too soon. Right now, 6. Good.
Rozier, the pull-up, good elevation, but the shot over the...
It's okay. Well executed.
And another big halftime advantage for the Cards. They knocked down a few from outside, hit 4 and 9 from long range. And again, forcing 13 turnovers and only committing 2, and that's why they're doubling up the Hawks.
Welcome to the ESPN3 College Basketball Halftime Report. I'm John Brickley. We'll get you out to the second half of your game in just a moment. But first, it's time to check out some of the latest news and stories bouncing around the college hardwood. Let's take a look.
Anderson again for 3.
Marshall sometimes looks crazy, but he's not crazy.
What's the most challenging aspect of coaching him when he's in that moment?
Henderson, long 3. Got it!
Have you ever watched a bull when they're in competition and you're trying to ride the bull for the longest? Sometimes that's how I feel coaching Marshall. At the end, it's a heck of a ride, but it's going to be a hard landing.
Tell me where you grew up.
My dad being a high school coach, he moved around. I first lived up by Wichita Falls, Texas. Moved down by Waco, Texas, then moved up to Dallas-Fort Worth area.
How hard was it to play for your dad?
The hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. Just nonstop coaching. I would go at him pretty hard in practice, and he would ground me later on, or take the phone away from me at home. There were some pretty intense yelling matches. I would just always just roll on over. About the end of the season, my senior year, it just got to the point where the arguments were just crazy, and they were just like, you gotta go. I just came home one night. They had everything packed up. Going to my mom's parents, I respected the hell out of them, and I wouldn't have done anything, to jeopardize my relationship with them. And so that was actually, I thought, a good move. You know, I didn't really have any money when I was living with my grandparents, and so I was getting into things to where I could, you know, don't have to worry about money anymore.
Such as getting into things like what?
Well, you know, the whole counterfeit money thing, you know, go buy some, you know, drugs and then sell them and get some money, some real money. I didn't realize that counterfeit money was a third-degree felony and that you could, like, go do Fed time for that. When the Secret Service came to, you know, talk to me, I threw up. That was the first thing I did, is threw up in the trash can. And I was so scared because I'd never really been in trouble. And that kind of helped me. That was like my first thing to get in trouble. And they gave me the probation. And so I'm thankful for that. It scared the wits out of me.
Why did you feel the need to experiment, whether it was cocaine or marijuana?
I had literally a life-changing event that happened. I go to junior college. This is on South Plains, January 11th, 2012. Basically, just something happened with me and my girlfriend, and just drove me insane, pretty much. You know, I just went on 2 days, just straight, just smoking, getting some, you know, go get some coke, drink, and go into my probation meeting. I'm all kinds of messed up in the meeting, and I tell my probation officer, he was like, all right, well, we're gonna drug test you, blah, blah, blah. My idiot self turned to the dark side, you know? That was my choice at the time. And that's why I wasn't really mad when I went to court and they were like 180 days in jail.
When you were recruiting Marshall Henderson, you'd already been to Utah, to Texas Tech for a little bit, to South Plains. Why'd you take him?
I remember coming back and meeting with my staff saying, we need a basket maker. Go find the best one in the country. They came back with the name Marshall Henderson.
How surprised were you that they still were willing to take you, knowing everything that had occurred prior?
I mean, I was pretty surprised. They're like, all right, well, you know, we'll take you. You got a clean slate when you come here. And they're like, we're not gonna tell anyone you went to jail. Just be like, you took the semester off, the summer session off. I was like, awesome. I mean, eventually, obviously, I really found out everything. When I first came here, it was so funny, though. So my teammates were like, this is the junior college player of the year? This dude is terrible. Because, like, oh, man, I've been in jail for a month. Like, I mean, we hooped some, but I was hooping in flip-flops, you know, in a jumpsuit. You can't hoop that much. But I just kept working. And, like, I just separated myself from everyone else because I was putting in more work. And then season comes, ready to go.
Henderson, long three. Got it! Are you kidding me?
And then what happens? Why'd you get suspended?
When basketball's not there is, you know, always been a bad time for me. And season ended, and then I was like, you know, it's kind of go time, it's party time. I'm like, well, I'm not a professional, so I don't get paid, so why is this frowned upon? Why is me going out and partying when the season's over frowned upon? These people I'm with, you know, future doctors, lawyers, businessmen, they don't have to take drug tests in school right now. Why do I have to take drug tests? And I just kind of just created this unrealistic stuff in my head.
When this all transpired and we made the decision to suspend him, I went about my business preparing this team as if he wasn't going to be here. And then ultimately, the line in the sand was drawn, and he had to make some decisions, as we all do from time to time.
Is there more testing for you than other players?
Oh, yes. I mean, I check in every day just for random. I don't know when. Just every single day.
Since you were at Ole Miss, was that the only time that you'd strayed and used in this whole year?
Oh, yeah, for sure. When school starts up in the fall, particularly, I'm like locked in the zone with school and basketball.
How do you know your teammates are going to trust that you're going to stay straight?
Being the only senior and knowing that this is the last go-around, it's just crazy. Like, they have no reason not to trust. You know, right now, I can't play at the beginning. All I can do is, go the hardest in practice. Every drill I'm going first, so I can set the tone. Be kind of the calming influence.
It's a bit of an oxymoron for you, though.
That's what I'm
You're the
saying.
calming influence.
I know. See, that's what I'm saying.
Calming and Marshall Henderson, they don't go hand in hand.
I know. It's just crazy how it works out.
Coach John Calipari, blue chippers for the Big Blue. Boy, he's had a bunch of them, hasn't he? There's a reason he has had one of the top classes in the last 5 years there in Lexington. And we're joined now by the head coach of Kentucky, John Calipari, for our annual signing day chat. Coach, give us your assessment of this class as a whole.
Well, we're really excited. You know, they're the guys we wanted and the guys that wanted us. You're talking about great students. You're talking about really skilled basketball players at every position. You have size, guard play, and we probably, my guess is we're going to sign 2 more. But I would tell you this is the start of a really good class for us.
Coach, the casual fan may look at your class every year and think, well, Coach Cal wants the best of the best. He targets the best. He wants the top recruiting class when it's all said and done. How important is it to you to have the #1 class?
It's not important at all. People have to understand I'm trying to field a team, and we don't get everybody we're trying to recruit. And I say this isn't for everybody. And if kids come here and feel overwhelmed or not up for this, that's fine. Or they look at another school and say, that's just a better situation for me. I don't take it personal. The guys that have come here, 17 have gone on to get drafted in 4 years, and it looks like another batch this year. We've had 10 guys graduate. We had a 3.4 grade point average last term. We have the highest APR in our league. So it's not at the expense of academics. It's preparing kids to reach their dreams. And whether other people think our class, I remember one year where people said, well, he didn't have the class, this class was better, that class was better. And my kids at the end of the day all got drafted. I mean, so it doesn't matter. I mean, at the end of the day, we're getting who we want to get that can help us win here and continue to build the program.
Coach, we hear from coaches all the time about the grind that is recruiting. And after all these years of coaching, what aspect of recruiting still lights your fire and excites you?
I love going in to meet different families from different parts of the country and learn about their background and learn about, how hard they've worked to raise their children. I'm on the phone with the mother the other day who basically gives me her life story and at one point just starts crying. And you understand that these families, their son is not a cog in the wheel. That's their child. That's somebody who not only do they love, but they have raised to this point, and they're giving you their son. They're giving him to you. And so when I meet families, whether their son comes or not, you know what? That's the one part of this I love. And then to just see, is there a way that this family, their hopes and their dreams and what they're trying to do for their son, if we can help them do those things. I mean, again, many of the kids will walk in the home, the first college graduate will be that child. Or they've been in generational poverty their whole lives, their whole family. And all of a sudden this child, who's a good kid, who's a good student, has a chance to break that cycle from this point going forward in the history of their family, and you could play a part of that. So there are many things like that. The travel, the standing there having to do the presidential wave, be seen at games, and that stuff I don't enjoy that much, but meeting families and people from around the country I do.
You're recruiting a lot about relationships. You've assuredly established some great ones along the way. John Calipari, head coach Kentucky, congrats on the class, and thanks for sharing some time with us.
Thanks, guys.
We hope you enjoyed that look around college hoops, as that'll do it for the ESPN3 Halftime Report. I'm John Brickley. Enjoy the second half.
Gifted. Reggie White, back in the day, and you mentioned Jerome Brown, back in the day, they used to line up Reggie White like finding the weak link. They'd line him up at every position across the line of scrimmage, and you'd break the huddle, and all of a sudden you turn around, and he was standing up over where you were going to line up. And I remember breaking the huddle going, like, what did I do to deserve this, Mr. White? What? I mean, that guy, and then LT was one of the most intimidating players I've ever played against. I mean, just frightening. He was just frightening because, he was half crazy, and he was, full go. From a football playing standpoint, man, just a great. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. He's just a great player. But when you lined up across from him, or you had to pull on a trap, and you knew he was at the end of the line of scrimmage, you knew it was going to hurt.
Guy you'd least want to face if you were playing against him. Want to hit us up on the Twitter account? You can do so on the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed. You can hit us up at Sedano and Stink. The most intimidating guy you ever saw play in the NFL. That's probably the way to do it. At Sedano and Stink on the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. You can hit us up there. Intimidating guy and dirty player and a guy in a lot of trouble, it seems like, potentially, is Richie Incognito. And this story doesn't go away, Mark. And you and I talked about this, obviously, ad nauseum for a couple of weeks. And we did say a number of times, hey, there's more to this story that's not being told, and there could be some potential lawsuits involved, and who knows. And it's not just players that we were talking about. It could be some team officials, team employees, things like that. Well, Jason Cole from the National Football Post reports today that the problems for the Dolphins may soon extend beyond the player-on-player harassment. According to two sources, Richie Incognito and at least one other player mocked the ethnic background of a team staff member and made crude jokes about the staff member's wife. According to one of the sources, Incognito would sometimes dress in garb from the staff member's culture and then make profane jokes about that culture. A second source said that at least one other player joined in on the antics, creating an extremely uncomfortable environment for the staff member. Worse, Incognito said on a number of occasions that the staff member of the Miami Dolphins' wife had sexual relations with several members of the team. The most troubling element to this is the behavior was done in view of other team staff members and was allowed to go on without being curtailed by team management or the front office staff.
What did I say a couple weeks ago? This is the tip of the iceberg. It's only going to get worse. And as people feel more and more empowered to tell their side of the story and to get it out there, because let's face it, when you're going through something like that, you're in fear of losing your job, especially when other officials, if in case these allegations are true and they're proven to be true, when other officials of that team are allowing it's like Coach Herm always says, you're either coaching it or allowing it to happen. When other members of the organization are allowing something like that to go on, when other members of that football team are allowing it to go on, by the allowing of it to happen, by just that happening, you're essentially encouraging it. When you don't put a stop to it, you're encouraging it by not putting a stop to it. I really believe it's the tip of the iceberg. I believe this thing is going to get so ugly down the road, and I believe more and more people are going to come out with their side.
Just about ready to go. The second 20 minutes of play. See if Louisville can be as efficient in the second half as they were in the first half, which we've talked about here with this squad this season. They haven't really been tested. They may get tested this weekend if they're able to get that matchup with North Carolina, although, Carolina the other night took a bit of definitely a surprising loss to Belmont.
Although that is a terrifically coached team. I've had them during championship week or bracket buster week. Probably in the last 5 years, Rick Byrd is the coach there. They spread the floor and really all shoot it well. And Carolina's never been known as a great defensive team. They give you looks. And so they give that team looks, and they made you pay. By the way, look what I did to the monitor here.
You were playing with it. Now you're going to blame the monitor.
I hit it.
Bob likes to push buttons at halftime.
Nope. See? I hit the menu button, and now I literally have a menu on this TV screen. And no one can figure out how to do it.
Luckily, the viewers at home don't have the same problem. They get to see it in crystal clear HD TV.
Push your buttons.
That foul was on Corbin Rowe.
I don't know how I did that. I got issues. Oh, well.
You have to watch the game in front of you.
I'll listen to your description. What's going on now?
They are with the express written consent of the University of Louisville Athletic Association. As Montrezl Harrell throws one down.
Yeah, Russ has always done that especially well. If he can get in deep, he's always looking for a big guy. That's I associate that with New York City guards do that especially well. But Russ has always done that.
Russ 11 points, 2 assists in the game now. 1 assist in the game, along with 3 rebounds.
Well, that's an adjustment they made to start the half, but Louisville readjusts beautifully, and that was they took Wakama and put him out on the perimeter and took Stephen Van Treese away from the basket, but Louisville rotated over and almost got a turnover.
And Blackshear will go with the pull-up. Floater is good. Getting 5 points in the game now.
See, they got Wakama way up high here. And they had him down low, and now they're trying to pull Van Treese away from the basket and telling him to fire a couple, but they've come up empty on 2 possessions so far.
Wakama tried the 3. He's added that to his repertoire, but can't get that one to drop. They'll go a little bigger here as Falk goes to the bench. And Yassine Kolo will check back in for the Hawks. It's a team that returns 90% of its scoring from a season ago.
Well, that's why they call it a fake. And Harrell did not buy it. Wakama was fake the handoff, and I'm going to make a quick move on the baseline, and Trez was like, not on me, you're not.
And it results in the 14th turnover of the game. Lob to Harrell. He had to wait on it for a brief moment.
It's just, it's this, you're starting to sense a little bit discouragement here by the Hawks. Like I said, it's just everything is so hard. It just wears on you. Getting into your offense, getting the ball out of bounds, defending them at all 5 positions. Nothing ever comes easy.
And they're doing it without fouling, as now Hartford just turns it over on the unforced error.
That's when you're going too fast. Rowe just, again, so you feel like you've got to do everything faster, throw the ball harder.
Again, this is not like this is a team picked last in its league. It's a team coming off a record regular season number of wins. And Russ Smith, a little out of control there, though, for the Cards. Nobly pass over to Wakama, and he'll go to the free throw line. First on Wayne Blackshear.
It's been interesting to talk to Rick after games. I have no idea if he would agree with even one word of this, but he just looks in a different place. And you can say, well, of course, he just won the national championship, but everything that's transpired last year, I think really much has been made about the grandchildren kind of softening him up a little bit. But I really believe the Hall of Fame was an enormous thing for him. I think that he's a very proud man and a competitive guy, and I think with that moment, he saw that his contemporaries felt he has a place, even though his accomplishments speak for themselves. There's still a part of you that just likes to know that the people that you look up as the best in your craft look at you among the all-time best too. I mean, his mentor, U.B. Brown, was in him, and he calls you a mentor, but you certainly influenced him. All those guys, and now Rick is there too, and this group carrying over from last year looks like they're just so much fun to coach. And I think he's really relishing every day. He looks more, I don't know how would you describe it. I don't want to say relaxed, just that implies like he's not hungry. That's a good choice of words. He just looks really at peace with everything. He really does.
And I think to have that honor coincide with the ultimate goal, which is to win a title, probably that, has to have been just a perfect way it went down.
We went into his office to do the post-game interview as we did last time. 5-second violation here, and that was the day they had given him the photo collage of the whole year. And his man has got every conceivable plaque and trophy there is to be given. And we walked in; it was laying on the floor there. And I said, that was a really nice thing they gave you." And he went and stood at it and said, he hadn't even really looked at it yet. And he said, "Yeah, look, there's my fish. Remember the
fish he caught? Over the summer.
And it was nice because that is, he got as big a charge out of that was in the picture, and all of the experiences that he had in the course of that year. It was so cool to just see him so rejuvenated by the whole thing and really happy about everything.
Chris Jones' shot no good on the other end. Nice look underneath. First easy bucket they probably had all night as it gets in there for Alonzo Moore. That is literally about the only thing that has come easy, it looks like, so far in this game. They are 8 of 24 from the field. We can skip it over there to Wayne Blackshear, and here's the nice dish underneath to Montrezl Harrell. Gotta be careful there on the hanging on the rim, but results in an easy bucket for Louisville. They made 19 of their 36 shots so far in this game as Cooper's three-pointer won't go. And that is going to be a foul on Van Treese, his first, getting underneath Colo. Louisville, of course, coming off a record number of wins a season ago to coincide with that national championship. 35-5. And
it doesn't always translate that way, too. I'll never forget Tom Izzo telling me that when they won the national championship, Michigan State, you know, he didn't have a guy on that team, I think, that was in the top 50 of the recruits in the country. And then they won it. He said, and after that, you know, you can get in living rooms where you couldn't before. He said, and you're crazy. You do it because how could you not? But he said they wound up getting some guys that really weren't his kinds of guys. And they kind of rededicated themselves to getting back to those guys. And now they've been on another great run. And you know, so that's why even though they won the championship here, it's a nice move on the baseline that time.
Yeah, Kama gets a bucket.
I mean, you know, you would say, well, sure, Rick's going to have guys he likes, but it doesn't always translate that way. I think, if anything, he got reinforced that the guys he really wants to coach, you can win a championship with.
And his staff knows those guys when they're out on the trail, clearly. Knows what they're looking for as they go continent hopping to get players. Montrezl Harrell underneath. This is good on any continent. Well, 16-3, the turnover advantage. The University of Louisville, and they lead it over Hartford here, 50-24.
And Louisville had a plus 16 advantage in the paint in the first half. Here's another example of why. Remember, we showed the good defensive communication by Louisville. Here's what happens at the other end when the other team doesn't communicate well. Watch the screen here by Montrez. You see Jones come off it. Now, right there, right just the corner of your screen there is Moore. The two big guys are anticipating a switch. He should go with Harrell, but he doesn't know they intend to switch. He loses Harrell, and that means it's three guys on two at the top and one guy wide open in the back, and Trez makes them pay for it.
Chris Jones, a pull-up jumper is good.
Every score sheet just has so many guys. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys in the score column tonight.
Yeah, everybody that has played for Louisville has at least a point. Seeing right now 54% from the field here in this game. A lot of those obviously inside looks like you just saw on that replay on the pick and roll.
Got some serious issues now.
Van Treese, good job defensively. I like the hustle.
Not just hustle, it is, although you're right about that, but it is the experience of knowing when to go out and shoot gaps.
Whatever they want, they're getting right now. Luke Hancock for 3.
It's almost, when you play defense like that, it's almost like playing good motion offense where guys just know how to play off of each other, know when to go and when not to go. You heard me say, hope he's in trouble there. Van Treese sensed it as well. Luke Hancock had him in trouble. Van Treese shot the gap, led to the turnover in the bucket at the other end.
And now we have the media timeout as the Cards up by 29. Back here, you're getting a look at our KC-TCS Scholar Athlete of the Game. It's Russ Smith, senior guard, a 3.17 communications major, WHS 11 intern. So we'll stuff him in a locker after the game. And an AP preseason All-American. And one of the best all-around players, no doubt about it, in the country. You have the honors of trying to stuff him in the locker, though, not me.
I wouldn't dare do that. His job is to carry around your shaving supplies. I wouldn't want him to disrupt your routine.
He has gotten himself into career point over 1,300 tonight. He's got 11, so he's 1,307 in his career. And again, worth mentioning some of the guys he has passed: Jeff Paul, Jerry Eves, Rodney McCray, and still going.
And the birthday girl advises me somewhat defensively. He's not carrying any shaving kits around. He's editing stories, which actually fans would want to know. He's doing real live TV
stuff.
work. Yes.
Luke Hancock, can he make 2 in a row? You betcha. 6 of 11 is this team from long range in this game.
They just no let up, no let up. This is what he was talking about, I think, about meanness. It's 58-27, and they've got the defensive pressure turned up as if they're down 4 with 3 minutes to go, and they need a turnover to get back in the game.
It's a total killer instinct. You're right. It's just never letting the foot off the accelerator.
Trouble again.
And they don't foul. They force what looked like it was going to be an Aaron pass, but Oren Falk chases it down.
You ever been on a plane where the turbulence is bad and you're just saying, I just want to catch a little stretch of calm air just for a few minutes, just to regroup. Yeah. That's what playing Louisville's like.
It's a great analogy because that's what it looks like out on the court as Moore gets the bucket.
Just get over the timeline and just leave me alone for 5 seconds. Just then we'll go back to the turbulence.
Luke Hancock trying to keep the turbulence up. We'll skip it over other side of the court. Rozier. There's the rebound from Bohannon, and he will go to the free throw line. But you're right. There's just nothing easy. I think I could count probably one easy bucket tonight from Hartford.
It's hard to get the ball in bounds. Then when you get it in bounds, it's hard to get it over the timeline. Then when you get it over the timeline, they're harassing you and trying to create a turnover. The shots are challenged. Then if you make it or miss it, they're running it right down your throats. And then they just keep running. Next shift, here comes some more guys.
And they come back in with a guy who's a first-team preseason All-American who's been out for this stretch. Points off turnovers is just a freakish number. 20-0 right now. Points off turnovers, the advantage for Louisville because they've only turned it over 3 times themselves.
I mean, you'll have days in practice where they call it shelling your offense. You'll run just your offense with no defense on the floor. It's just a way to reinforce spacing and timing and everything. You may do that for the equivalent of what we've played and make more than 3 turnovers. That's with no defense on the floor at all. So for the fact that Louisville, overmatched a bit, but still to not turn the ball over, to be this careful with the basketball is extraordinary.
Russ Smith will pick up the foul. That's his 3rd there as he does what you don't see players do. That you saw players do that all the time last year. Reach in, touch far away from the court, no risk of a foul. He frankly knows better than that. They've called it so tightly in practice and in some of the games, but I really think we're starting to see players adjust to this new emphasis on the rules. As that one just in and out of the hands of Cooper, they're all over the place. 18th turnover of the game for Hartford.
That's a set play. It was there. It was a fade. The guy was open, and you throw it out of bounds because everything is just
turbulence.
Yeah, exactly.
Rough weather. Inside, nice pass in there to Matta for Chris Jones. 3rd assist on the night.
So now, not only has every Louisville player scored, but everyone's got a field goal, at least a field goal.
That is correct. I concur. Chris Jones, another steal, and gives it right back.
Trouble.
And Hancock tried to get it underneath there to reject it from Colo, but Hancock will pick up the foul. And then even there, when Colo gets free after he's been fouled, there's Mathiang on a play that really doesn't even count to try to swat it away.
They did a science experiment, I'll never forget it, back when you do things like this, and they had like a frog's heart that they just dissected a frog, and if you put the adrenaline right on the heart, it still beats even though it's by itself. That's what Mengele is. It was like, doesn't matter, guy's taking a shot, I'm going to try and block it. I don't care if the ball's in play, I don't care if the whistle's blown, I'm going to go try and block that shot.
And another steal. Ware ahead of the pack. Thought he had the layup, but then this one will be Louisville possession. Still not after Hartford had saved it in bounds, and that's going to be the 4th foul on Moore.
Maybe a bit chagrined, but that was a foul even probably by last year's standards. I mean,
yeah, any year.
He's absolutely dumbfounded.
Do they need a test against the Carolina to really find out to validate any of this stuff, Bob? Or can you, as a coach, say, look, I don't care who we're doing this against. This is execution pure and simple.
Well, I would like to see how big a problem the rebounding will be against teams that, have a more high major front line size-wise. But, yeah, and UB Brown used to say that all the time. You gauge yourself really against your best competition. My goodness.
Hancock passes it out to Russ Smith. It was a nifty-looking way to get it out to him, but missed one of the few misses of the night for Russ Smith. Well, he's missed a few from long range, 1 of 4 from out there. As you see that, Hancock picks up the foul.
And now Luke is equally incredulous.
As Rick said yesterday, the new rules will hurt Hancock on the defensive end and really help him on the offensive end. As he and Bohannon go to the bench, and you have Anton Gill checking into the game for the first time tonight. So it'll be on him to score since everybody else has a field goal. Now, Anton, you check in. You're expected to get a field goal. Colo running into the paint against fellow number 12, Mathiang, who was there waiting on him to draw the charge.
It's a good call. It's a good defensive possession. Gill closed out. Gill did a lot of work here. You can see the tail end of it. He'd already gone back to the post to help out, then came back out and closed out on Colo and forced him to put it to the deck. And then when he does that, he needs help from his teammate. Mathiang steps up. Good team defense there.
21st turnover for Hartford, 3 straight possessions with a turnover.
I never gave you a direct answer to your question. You don't need Carolina to validate this is a good team. This is a good basketball team playing well together. I mean, it's not the first team we've watched in the season we've seen unfold, but yeah, you'll want to find out some things against the tougher competition you face, no question.
Harrell tried the shot from long range. Mathiang scooped the rebound, and possession error will go to Hartford. Mango Mathiang getting 3 underneath. Part of the reason this lead is what it is. You have 62 points on the board. You got a lot of nominees for your Subway sub of the game, but we'll go with Terry Rozier, the freshman.
I don't want to say very important, but it's a nice thing for him to get some minutes where he was effective because, as Rick said, it's crazy when guys are getting upset if they're not playing well in a 50-point blowout or whatever, which they had last game. But, freshmen are trying to prove themselves, and he was working hard, and nice to see him get some minutes tonight where he has been effective. A 3-point field goal, 2-point field goal, 2 of 2 at the line. Solid few stretches there from Mr. Rozier. 25
bench points for the Cards. Of their 62, as Rozier is part of that. There's another big difference between this year and last year's squad. Last year's squad could hold teams scoreless so long defensively the way this one does. But Louisville, this year seems like, as you see the bucket in from Okama, scores. If you go on a drought, you're in trouble because they're going to score.
Well, they certainly on the perimeter, there's way more firepower. I don't think there's any question about that. You're right. That's a nice thing when you feel like Rick used to play Russ sometimes last year in games. I'm not sure he really wanted to. He was, maybe having defensive breakdowns, but he called him his run stopper. Mm-hmm. He was a guy that he knew if he put out there, the other team wouldn't be able to put a big run together because he was going to get a basket some way, somehow. Now I don't think there's that sense of urgency. There's a lot more weapons out there.
This is a Hartford squad, for example. It's had scoreless droughts tonight of 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 3:35, 2:30. When you have 4 separate droughts of more than 2.5 minutes, that's why you get margins like this. Kama. And that's about as open look as he's had, and he was draped on that play by the Cards defenders. At least there was only one of them on him.
He's got 9 points. He's earned every one of them.
Kama is 4 of 10 from the field. Smith, nice look underneath. Mathiang is going to be fouled and go to that free throw line.
Actually, he's not.
No, he's not. Okay, I thought he was going up there with the shot. 15 foul, but not in the act. So as Van Treese and Bohannon check in, Mathiang will head over to that bench. A lot of subs. Everybody getting to play now.
Wholesale subs.
Yes. The trigger will go in here to Shane Bohannon. And he will be going to the free throw line as he gets loose underneath. Third foul on Corbin Rowe. And Bohannon, who has been much better at the free throw line tonight, 3 of 4. Louisville as a team in this game, 10 of 14 at the stripe.
New conference affiliation, that little A in the corner that looks like all the Louisville players are alternate captains.
Like a hockey sweater?
Yes, they've all got A's there. I was like, wow, Rich, see, there's one right there. All the guys are alternate captains. And you did that to him.
I did it. I'm sorry. I apologize to all the Bohannon family, anybody listening for the announcer jinx on Bohannon being 3 of 4 prior to that. Russ Smith, a little wild inside.
He thinks he got hit. He's trying to put a little spin on the ball again there.
Three-pointer no good from Moore. And the rebound, the Cards down by 1 in the rebounding edge in this game, 24-23.
That was fortunate that Bohannon, that one didn't bounce over his head. That's what Rick talks about. I think that's one thing they've really got to focus on is long rebounds on the defensive end, keeping the ball in front of them. They let the ball go back over their head a lot.
Van Treese did a nice job to get the rebound and then threw it away, and then Ware the rejection, and then Russ Smith ends up committing the foul here as it'll be Cooper going to the line for a three-point play. The elevation from Ware, though.
Russ was, if he was doing a pantomime, he was gesturing so many different ways. I don't know what he's protesting. Watch the great block by Ware. Terrific block. The ball stays in play. Now, Russ is, oh, we can't see, he's out of the picture there. Oh, the guy grabbed his leg.
That's what he's upset about, and then he gets called for the foul.
And he got hit in the mouth, and the guy grabbed his leg, and I mean, he went to his face, his leg. He was wronged in every way imaginable.
Every body part. It's like a game of Twister there for Russ Smith as he picks up his 4th foul. Cooper converts the three-point play. Anton Gill, nice dish underneath. A Hargrave guy to another Hargrave guy. Gill to Montrezl Harrell.
That is just such a nice, smart, simple possession. Chris Jones drove the ball, pulled it up just enough so he had the pass to Gill. Gill did the same thing, saw a crease, drew help, looked for Montrez. Montrez with a dunk, simple, straightforward, very sound basketball.
And a chance for another three-point play this time as Harrell picks up the foul, and Colo will go to the free throw line as he now has 6 points to go along with the 7 rebounds in the game.
Tough shot there. Off balance, put it to the window. Just a sophomore. They have high aspirations for him.
And he just got ruled eligible. He's a transfer in from East Carolina. They didn't get word till right at the end of October that he would be available this season, but he is, and they're getting some good use out of him here. Chris Jones, little floater in the paint. Look at that offensive rebound. And is he going to go to the free throw line? Yeah, okay. Just making sure. That's the 5th foul on Moore. And that'll be it for his night as Alonzo Moore will exit this game with 7 points and those 5 fouls.
You mentioned East Carolina. I think it was East Carolina gave Duke all they wanted tonight.
They were playing them, earlier.
It was a 5-point game with a minute and a half to go in Cameron. And that's not unusual here in the early part of the season. We've seen some interesting, surprising matchups and results.
Hey, you mentioned Belmont beating North Carolina.
At the Dean Dome, yep.
Iowa State clipped Michigan, I think it was.
That's not such a shock.
Yeah.
I mean, Fred Hoiberg has done an unbelievable job there. You really got to see a game there at some point. It's an incredible place. It really is.
And Chris Jones good on the free throw. He's 3 for 3 on the night in that department. And it's amazing. He went 67 minutes into his Louisville career before he had his first turnover. And perfect at the free throw line for him this evening, 4 of 4.
Maybe the most interesting matchup of two ranked teams in Oklahoma State and Memphis. And Oklahoma State taking care of business there. They're up 13 with 6 minutes to go in the first half.
Ware reaches in on the steal, and I don't think the basket's going to count, but either way, it's another turnover, the 22nd turnover of the game for Hartford. A nice job by Ware to get the steal, and that'll be the 4th foul on Rowe. I mentioned it last broadcast that players will tell you that they feel like Ware is jumping higher than he was before the injury, and he looks every bit recovered from this. I mean, the only thing you do is maybe shake off some rust from not being able to play over the summer, but he's clearly going to be part of the rotation of guards here for this team.
Well, that is the one thing that, I was really curious to see as they go forward here. He's going to go deep into a bench, I'm sure. He likes to keep running fresh bodies. That's the way he does business. But when you get to the NBA, for example, frequently guys substitute off the clock, by and large, till you get to the last half of the last quarter, or maybe you're navigating it differently for matchups or whatever. But you have an idea, 7 minutes to go in the first quarter, this guy's going in, 4 minutes to go, whatever. I'm curious if I'm going to ask him afterwards, because I wonder if he's going to do that. I mean, how much does he do that? How much does he want to do that? Because right now, he told me, I asked him that last game, and he told me who's going to play, but he didn't tell me in what quantity. That's going in.
Oh, Shane Mahannon. I don't think he had any idea that was going to have a chance of going in the bucket, but look at him. He loves it. He's laughing. And the crowd loves the effort. He was trying to match. Wasn't it Kentucky that had a player that did that?
That was in the other, but they threw it in their own basket.
Yeah,
that would have been in his. That would have been a three-pointer.
Yeah, it's cool either way, but much more productive when it goes in the one you need to score in. As that one is out of bounds. I mean, that was amazingly close. Let's get a look at this one. This would have been fun.
Going to the corner, he just throws it. I'm sure he's not envisioning throwing it at the basket, but
he thought it had a chance.
Well, when he was coming down the floor, you could see he was laughing as he realized how close that was. That would have been a shot for the ages.
Would have made SportsCenter for sure. Wakama connects on that. He's got 12 points in the game now. Harrell at the high post. Boy, now that is a nice wrinkle in his game, to be able to put that on the floor. And that is the one thing with their big men this year. With Gorgie, he had a multitude of things he could do with the ball offensively. Is Harrell doing everything defensively here? You don't necessarily think of Harrell as a guy who is going to do that a lot, but if he can, that certainly opens things up again for the offense. Wow, just everywhere.
That's what I mean. You think you're never free of them. They're like a bad debt.
Shane Mahannon throwing one down. He had the dunk of the year a season ago against DePaul. Trying to build that resume this year. Cole shot. Well, they call that one a pass to Colo. And the Cardinal team a 31-point advantage. Lob to Harrell. You just got to throw it somewhere in the vicinity of the rim. And if you're not putting a body on Harrell, it's going in.
Megatrez, 7 field goals, 16 points now.
Yeah, out of nowhere, he leads this team in scoring. And that's going to be a whistle underneath. picked up the foul, but here's Bohannon taking us to break. Again, the Cards by 33. Let's check out our top performer, brought to you by McDonald's. And it is Montrezl Harrell doing it all over the court here.
Blocking shots, sealing for the lob and the dunk. Russ with a nice dish. Trez taking rather high percentage shots here, none of them from more than 4 inches away.
Well, I mean, the season ago, 43 of his 97 field goals were dunks. He's got some more moves in his game, but that dunking thing seems to be working pretty well.
Nothing wrong with dunks. You can accumulate a lot of points doing that, 16 of them to be exact.
Chris Jones says he loves having 2 targets out there now that Bohannon is back. Harrell, who you got the radar lock on if you get close, and Bohannon as well. And part of the reason this lead is what it is here is Mark Wakama goes to the free throw line where he's a 76% free throw shooter. Not sure if the discussion was.
Well, I think it's discussing whether it was the right free throw shooter. Rick was questioning who the free throw shooter should be.
Speaking of relentless, I mean, up 33, making sure the right guys at the line. Russ Smith, this 4 fouls, is back in there. And just so tough for anybody to stay in front of him. Harrell changed his mind 2 or 3 times, and Bohannon cleaned up the mess.
Well, this is what I think, no disrespect at all to Stephen Van Treese, but I think fans drool over this combination. They want to see Trez and Bohannon play together, and I don't know that they'll be able to do that against every team and not for a ton of minutes, because they're still a tiny bit undersized really that way against some high major front lines. But late in games, the ends of games, I think Rick would be very comfortable doing that, and I think he's trying to get them some minutes playing together here.
Seems to put your most talented players on the floor by doing that when you get him and Harrell in there at that 5 and 4 spot.
See that again, I don't want to be splitting hairs here because Bohannon got that rebound, but you see that rebound almost went back over his head too. And that's what Rick's talking about. That's Russ's improved perimeter form.
Russ Smith connecting again to a 5 from long range in this game.
Again, if they're going to be a great rebounding team, they're going to have to corral a lot of those long rebounds. And the key to long rebounds is keeping the ball in front of you, going and hitting somebody, keeping them away from the basket, and then going to get the basketball.
Seen Colo connects on a 3 and a quick timeout from John Gallagher. They have shot a decent percentage by.
Yeah, they really have.
Louisville opponents 43%. It's not setting the world on fire, but we've certainly seen
pretty good. 43 is pretty good indeed, but they can't get enough shots.
Hey, WHS 11 and Sam Swope Fiat want you to drive away in a new Fiat 500 for your chance. Just watch for the Sam Swope Fiat Word of the Day to be revealed weekdays on WHS 11 News between 6 and 7 a.m. and again between 5 and 6 p.m. Then enter that word on the contest page at WHAS11.com.
Hartford shooting a dazzling 60% from the field from the 2-point inside the arc, 12 of 20. They are a good shooting team. They just have fallen victim to what Louisville's done to everybody, suffocating them. An enormous disparity in the turnovers.
24 turnovers, 15 of them steals. Just tells you what this Louisville squad is doing to teams this year. So 49 steals on the year for the Cards compared to just 9 by the opposition.
That's nice ball move. They really do move the ball.
Tim Henderson trying to sky for the rebound there, but it'll be Hartford basketball. Final 4.5 minutes here from this one. The KFC Yum Center. Wakama, that'll be a goaltend on Montrezl Harrell.
You can see why he's all conference. He's really had his hands full with this bigger matchup that he's had to face, and Louisville has really done a good job focusing their defense, and yet that's his 6th field goal now, 13 points. Oh, nice idea. Too bad.
Man, they'll kick it. And try this again here.
Speaking of kicking it, Louisville soccer teams Thursday starting their run in the NCAA tournament. Saw Ken Loa just a short while ago taking on Denver.
Have that one here. He was trying to get the fans enthused once again. Still owes you a scarf, I think, this year. Hasn't given you one. His behandler go to the free throw line.
Doesn't have to give me one every year.
I mean, it's a new model.
It was legendary.
Got to get the latest model, don't you? These things, technology changes dramatically in scarves from year to year, Bob.
How daunting it would be to be seen in last year's scarf. That'd be just awful. If they win that game, they would go to play at Michigan State in the next round. He's done a terrific job, of course. Bahana now 0 for his last 3 at the line since my partner celebrated his improved free throw shooting.
I was, very excited about it, and apparently I've ruined the night for him now. 3 of 8 on the night, and Harrell, wow. How about the timing on that? You don't often see that on a missed free throw, the follow offensive slam.
Wow. Trez is dialed in.
18 points now, 7 rebounds for Harrell in this game, as you said. 8 of 11 shots. Also got 3 assists mixed in here this evening as Wakama, an air ball. And Russ Smith is just so crafty. And just like about everybody on the team coming after him on that play before Hancock misses.
Yeah, Lou kind of rushed that one a little bit. Sensed the closeout coming.
Another big margin of victory here for this Card squad in this young portion of the 2013-14 season. Average margin of victory right around 30 coming in here. 31 to be exact. Behind the back pass to Wakama, and he does throw it down. Maybe the 2nd or 3rd easy bucket all night.
Yeah, and it was off the behind the back pass to get it. Of course, when Louisville goes behind the back, they almost throw it in the basket.
That's right, Bahana a little bit earlier. You missed it.
As Ken Horn said, you got to get your feet set on the behind the back.
Form's all wrong on that.
You can't be drifting like that.
A few times the shot clock under 10 tonight for the Cards, and it's Russ, just a little too much English on it, but that guy, forget about it. Harrell now 9 of 12 in the game.
He wants every offensive rebound to be his.
9 rebounds in the game, so one off a double-double. Had his career high in rebounds last time out with 15 against Cornell. Obama no good, and
a lot of
number 2 to go.
Challenging him.
And Bohannon will take us to the timeout. Well, the Cards hit 31 of 61 shots on the night, and even putting back in free throw misses. Going to look at Russ Smith on the bench, but he did some work earlier here, plenty of it, and he's part of our fourth drive of the game.
This early on was an indication they were dialed in. Takes it to the basket, changes hands, puts it up with the left hand, and finishes it. And Louisville broke this thing open in a hurry, doubling up the Hawks 42-21 in the first half.
See, he's got those 4 rebounds. Harrell's got 9. You got 6 others in the game that have a total of 3 or 4 each, as they now actually do lead in the rebounding margin. They've come up with a 33-28 advantage there. So now you can't even find fault with that. As a team this evening, 15 of 23 from the free throw line. And now up to, and Rick sort of looked at Shane over there after he made the second one and thinking, it's like he's saying, just do that every time. Do the same sequence every time. I mean, it's not a bad looking shot by any stretch of the imagination.
You're right. Release point changes. Once you start monkeying with it, you make it. It's like shooting at a moving target when you change it. The rim stays stationary, but you're moving the ball all around. That's why you want to make sure you repeat. That's what the shirt says, rise and repeat. Good advice on the free throw line.
And Schneck will go to the free throw line here. And the Cards will have a matchup on Saturday as they will take on Fairfield and then get the winner, if they win, of North Carolina Richmond. And Schneck, wow. And you may not see a worse miss left to right all season. He's got to redeem himself here.
If that were golf, that would be one that he doesn't even watch it. He's just putting the provisional down because it's out of bounds, because that was way left.
It was a much better miss, though, the second time around.
Yeah, that was his first free throw attempt of the year, so that you see that on occasion.
Mathiang inside will get a shot at a free throw here as well. Hartford, they're in this stretch where they're going to play 7 games in 16 days. Certainly, they got to hope something. They'll play Hofstra coming up next, again, as they are part of this tip-off classic.
That man's got a great philosophy. He was a fine player at St. Joe, and he's had a nice coaching career. He's worked under some good people, and he's really built this program. 2 losing seasons the first 2 years, but got him to 17 wins and a postseason berth last year. And what he told me was, look, when you're at the low major level, it's all about getting your team ready for the conference. You're not getting an at-large bid. You're not. So all these games, you try and take stuff away that'll make you better. And he's going to coach it to the end and teach it to the end and try and grow his team and get ready for a league where they're expected to be pretty competitive.
Said he wants them to be uncomfortable, I think was his word, right?
Well, they're pretty uncomfortable today because Louisville has not let up at all.
You want to be uncomfortable. The Yum Center is the place for you this year.
Well, not as
an opposing team. Yes, you're an opposing team.
Very comfortable. Yeah. But the players don't generally have, vodka bars and stuff like that. If they do, you don't win a lot of games.
No. And they win a lot of games here in this 4th season at the KFC Yum Center.
So his team will try and go look at tape and see what they can take away from this and improve. And Louisville, again, very professional in their approach. Very, very determined right from the outset.
Foot on the gas from the opening jump here. And this will allow the Cards to dribble this one out in the final 20 seconds. It's the win streak now at 20 straight for Louisville. They improved to 4-0 on the season. Hartford will drop to 2 and 3, and fans that are still around giving this team a round of applause. Rick Pitino shakes hands with John Gallagher. And this one, all Louisville. They win this one by 39 points. Our final score, 87-48 for Bob Valvano and our entire crew. I'm Drew Diener. Our next broadcast will be Southern Mississippi on Friday, November 29th at 7 o'clock right here on WHAS 11. The final score, 87-48. Good night from the Yum Center.